and some administrative offices, which are committed to provide quality services to the university constituents, including the faculty, staff, and students, and to the university clients. Situated also in the administration building are different offices which deliver diverse support services to the needs of the students. Among these are the Office of the Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs, which operates as the highest academic unit of MSU-Marawi campus, the Office of the Admissions, which is the frontline semi-academic unit of MSU that administers the admission of students and ensures adherence to the demands of academic excellence, the Office of the Registrar, which plays a vital role in enforcing university rules on admission, registration, assessment of fees, and educational records, the Division of Student Affairs, which offers programs pertaining to the welfare and development of students' full potential for leadership and social responsibility, and some services designed to proactively respond to the concerns of the students, including guidance and counseling, and some student organizations such as Seniors Council, and ARCSO, the Mindanao Varsitarian, and the Supreme Student of Government. The University Library of the MSU main campus does not only bring together knowledge and give sources of information in all kinds, but it also serves as the second home of the MSU constituents, especially the students, as it provides areas for studying, strengthening relationship, and enhancing communication through its different services. Among the services it offers are the signing of the university clearance, submission of hardbound thesis with CD, online database access, thesis and dissertations access, Wi-Fi access, conference or discussion rooms bookings, reading areas, the American Corner, which provides different services and holds different events, and others. Over the years, MSU-Marawi as the mother campus has transformed to an extremely modernized academic institution which holds aloft the desire to maintain quality education. At present, the university operation is complemented by the university's physical plant and facilities. These include the recently completed academic buildings that are equipped with contemporary classrooms, audiovisual rooms, laboratories, athletic facilities, health service facilities, food service facilities, convention center, student center, gymnasium, dormitories, cultural center, and other facilities that are used to enhance the delivery of services of the university. These physical plant and facilities are managed and sustained by the Physical Plant Division and the Motor Pool and Water System Division. The Department of the Security Services, especially the Peacekeeping Force, safeguards the safety of the MSU constituents and maintains the peace and order in the campus premises.
vision and wisdom of Dr. Warda D. Gimba, a club that would cater to the compounding quality research outputs and student researchers, was founded on the 22nd day of April 2015. Dr. Gimba, the research and thesis coordinator of the College of Education main campus, spearheaded the organization with its initial members composed of students who were involved in her methods of research courses during the second semester class of academic year 2015-2016. The organization was then officially named the Young Researchers Club, also known as YRC.
Young scholars in the community of learning and be able to contribute in the growing research enthusiast.
To motivate and inspire undergraduates to become independent thinkers by enhancing their critical thinking skills through research and paper critiquing.
To expose undergraduates with innovative and quality researches through various activities and programs.
Inculcate the value and imperatives of research in the 21st century education.
To prepare the young researchers for the graduate program.
bayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Kayang magiliw, helas ng silanganan, alam ng puso, sa dikit mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, tuyag ka ng magiting, sa manlulupin, di ka pasisingil, sa nagatak tutok sa simoy at sa langit mong pagaw, ay hinatang tulak, awit sa paglayang minamahal. Ang islak ng matawag mo'y tagumpay na nagtitindig, ang bituin at araw niya kailan pamay magtitindig. Lumanang araw ng walhagit pagsinta, buhay ang langit sa piling mo. Ang higaya na pagkay mga akin, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar, a webinar series on the development of synchronous assessment tools brought to us by the said Young Researchers Club in collaboration with the Department of Secondary Teaching and the College of Education of the Mindanao State University Main Campus, Marawi City, Philippines. My name is Professor Arnold B. Asitigi, your Master of Ceremony. I'm a faculty of the Department of Secondary Teaching of the College of Education, Mindanao State University Main Campus, Marawi City, Philippines. Today, we are presenting a webinar series in the development of synchronous and asynchronous assessment tools with our invited guests from Odessa, Texas, United States of America, as the College of Education is going international. However, just a few reminders before we get started. If you have any questions during the presentation, please type in your questions in the question box in your Zoom control panel. And for those attendees watching through our Facebook Live, you type in also your comment section. I'll bring it up during the question and answer portion at the end of the presentation. Now, without further ado, we'll listen to the opening remarks of our ever-supportive Dean of the College, Dr. Montilla Disari. Let us give her with a resounding virtual applause.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. Our President of the Mindanao State University System, Dr. Habib Watamama Makaayong, Vice President for Academic Affairs, Dr. Alma Biroa, Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs, Dr. Florencio Ricolito Jr., University and campus officials, our international resource speakers whose expertise and experiences will be introduced later, College of Education officials, faculty and staff, participants, Assalamu alaikum. May the peace and blessings of Almighty Allah be upon us all. And good morning to each and everyone. This research and assessment webinar series with the theme Recultivating Enthusiasm for Research Learning in the New Normal is very timely because of the challenge brought about by the pandemic that we are facing since early part of this year, 2020. Mindanao State University, or MSU, is located in the Bangsamoro region in Muslim Mindanao in the southern part of the Philippines. MSU was created under Republic Act No. 1387 in 1961. Thus, MSU is now 59 years of its existence. It envisioned to be the center of excellence in instruction, research, and extension to transform itself into a premier and globally competitive national peace university. In the different curricular offerings of its 11 campuses, research is one of its mandated courses in all its various programs. MSU is a university who believes that research can provide an immense contribution in development. This year's pandemic, known as COVID-19, has greatly affected the economic, political, social affairs of people. This prompted government of various countries to find solution or vaccine to control further damage of this illness to man's existence. Various researches is now on its way to find the vaccine to control this virus. This is research, believed to give an answer to problems faced by humans. With this pandemic, universities around the globe, like Mindanao State University, has to shift to other modality of instruction in order to deliver the necessary instructions to our learners during this trying time. Thus, teachers and students have to adapt and adjust to the asynchronous and synchronous mode of instruction. This prompted the sponsoring college to conduct this webinar to make teaching and learning in all levels of education more comfortable. The first topic on this webinar will deal on development of asynchronous and synchronous assessment tools. This will be delivered this morning by one of the well-known academic personality in the person of Mr. Carlos C. Manalastas III of Odessa High School, located in Odessa, Texas, United States of America. He is known for his expertise in the different modalities of teaching online. Thank you, sir, for accepting our invitation. By December 27, 2020, another educator and non-international speaker and a good friend of our college research coordinator, Dr. Warda Gimba, in the person of Dr. Samsu Sayu, Assistant Professor of Prince Songkla University in Patani Campus, Thailand, will be sharing to us his lecture on conducting participatory action research, a lesson learned from TARUF program for enhancing the cultural sensitivity among Muslim high school students in Deep South Thailand. Dr. Sayu once invited 5 faculty from the MSU College of Education, of which I was one of them, to visit their university in Songkla, Thailand. I am thanking you again, Brother Dr. Sayu, for the experience and the award accorded to me by your university, and thank you for accepting our invitation on this webinar. With the expertise of these 2 gentlemen, I am sure that our know-how will be more enhanced. Yours truly believes that this webinar will be the beginning of more sharing in the teaching-learning process to be conducted by the college. At this juncture, I would like to express my commendation to the faculty of the Secondary Teaching Department of this college under the leadership of Professor Lotis Dagisonan for spearheading this international webinar supported by the faculty under her department. As the Dean of the College of Education of Mindanao State University Main Campus, I am officially opening this program, at the same time welcoming one and all in this momentous gathering of people who joined this webinar for the purpose of enhancing what we already know. Please enjoy the 2-day webinar and get the most information from our speakers. Thank you and good day, everyone.
Our heartfelt thanks to Dean Sarif for that very heartwarming welcome message. The Office of the Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs is always supporting us in all the activities of the College of Education, Research and Extension Services. As such, this program will always give time to this very important academic figure of the university to express their gratitude to all of us. Let us listen to the instructional messages of the Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs, Dr. Florencio D. Ricoletti Jr., and the Vice Chancellor for Research and Extension and Development, Dr. Teresita O. Poblete.
The University System President, Dr. Habib W. Makaayong, the Vice President for Academic Affairs, Dr. Alma E. Birua, and all the other equally respectable and esteemed officials of the university system and of the MSU-Marawi campus, with special mention and thanks to the Dean of the College of Education, Dr. Muntia Jamila Sarip, for the invitation to this research and extension program activity. Assalamu alaikum, greetings of peace to all. Aside from instruction, research and extension are two other wings which propel the flight and the height of such flight of any university. Based on the mandates of the Mindanao State University, the College of Education, being one of the pioneer colleges of the university, has undoubtedly been loyal and true to its mission to train teachers to deliver quality education through time-tested and reflective pedagogies and teaching methodologies. Today, as the college embarks on to triangulate research and extension to its core mission by emphasizing on its crucial roles to further improve and perfect its services to all stakeholders, I am taking this honor to commend the strong and able leadership and supportive constituents of the college and everyone else who are behind this event. Research and extension are inseparable from instruction, as these are the creative expressions of ingenuity and strength in character among us in the academy. As said, necessity is the mother of all inventions. Research then should be able to proactively address imminent and pressing concerns and problems of society. As a matter of fact, as the world is staggering due to the pandemic, leading universities have partnered with world governments and private institutions in the search for COVID-19 vaccines. Although it takes years and years to develop efficient vaccines, universities such as Oxford University has been able to amazingly debut remedy against the deadly virus in less than a year. On the other hand, extension is compatibly paired with research because efforts to uplift the general human conditions are most often evidently seen and felt in our communities, especially at the grassroots levels. Such is always the case, expectedly, because universities house the intellectual powerhouse of any given society. Thus, this event that the College of Education has organized calls for a celebration as we recognize the relevance of the academy, spearheading life-changing activities for the benefit of not just the current generation, but of generations in posterity as well. The wonders brought about by research and extension and the pivotal roles it plays in the academy by challenging both teachers and students to engage and collaborate with others can never be shortchanged. By the way, it is also proper to mention the importance of technological innovation to a total human advancement. So it is instruction, research, extension, and innovation. These are the engines that set the flight to greater heights of a university. Once done right, these four shall provide tangible solutions to any challenges that confronts us as a species. Once again, congratulations to the College of Education, to Dean, Chairpersons, faculty members, and students, especially to the Secondary Education Department for this well-intended program. And with that, I would like you to continue staying safe, and I shall see you soon. Thank you very much.
Assalamualaikum to everyone. To our MSU beloved President, Dr. Habib Makayong, and his better half, Madam Pamela Bistun Makayong, MSU officials, Dean Muncha Jamila Sarip of the College of Education, Chairman of the Secondary Teaching Department, Professor Lotis Tagisunan, Dr. Warda D. Gimba, the Research Coordinator of the College of Education, other faculty and staff, as well as students, participants of this series of webinar on research and assessment tools. A pleasant good morning. It is an amazing day to learn again new tools to assess our students given the different methodology of teaching learning process. MSU as a premier university aspires to be competitive by trying to become excellent not only in instruction but also in research and extension. Will enable us to become more innovative and trying to find ways and means to share our knowledge and skills to others. Those of you who conceptualize this series of webinar for your students to capacitate them with research skills that are vital for generating quality data to discover new knowledge and the problems as well that they face in these trying times. Congratulations that you also have conceptualized trying to equip teachers within and outside MSU about assessment tools that they need in trying to evaluate performance of their students. Given a new flexible learning options that we are using, including distance or remote teaching and for those without internet connections, modular teaching methods. We really need a different tools since we cannot usually be interacting with our students. I wish the teachers that you have reached out will appreciate the efforts. For indeed, we need to share whatever we have so that we can multiply ourselves. And by doing so, we can help others. It is by helping others that the life of a teacher becomes fulfilling. And these assessment tools that they learned and they will come to learn from you will be useful in their day-to-day undertaking as teachers. So for teachers who participated in this series of webinars, I wish you find them useful. Hoping that in the next few months to come, we will be able to end the pandemic and we will come to normal once again. But meantime, we are still threatened by COVID-19. Webinar is the best option. Virtual sharing of all the skills and knowledge that we have will be taught to others so that others experiencing difficulties will be benefited. So congratulations to the different committees established by the secondary teaching department. You have done a good job by trying to replicate whatever you know to others. So I wish you all success in this endeavor, and let me greet you in conclusion. The season's greetings. Merry Christmas. And I wish you all a happy and prosperous New Year. Good day, everyone. and thank you.
Thank you so much, Vice Chancellor Recoleto and VC Poblete. You're always welcome, and we thank you for your ending support to the MSU College of Education's programs and activities. One of the proactive and goal-oriented faculty of the Department of Secondary Teaching will formally introduce our resource speaker for this morning's affair. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome Professor Rosnia G. Taman.
Tamano, you're muted.
Okay, I'm sorry. Once again, good morning. Good morning, everyone. I would like to say assalamu alaikum and good morning also to our beloved Dean of the College of Education, Dr. Mantia Jamila Sarip, who is with us today in this webinar. To my co-faculty members from the College of Education, the students, and most especially our resource speaker this morning. It is my pleasure to do this task of introducing our resource speaker. He is a former colleague, former co-teacher, and a very good friend. So he is a licensed professional teacher. He is a certified teacher science for grade 7 and grade 12. He earned this certification in the state of Texas. He is also a certified teacher science in state of Colorado and a certified teacher science as well in the state of South Carolina. He is a graduate of Bachelor of Science in Physical Therapy from Emilio Aguinaldo College, Manila. He earned his 18 units certificate in teaching program from Philippine Normal University and 36 units Master of Arts in Education specialization in Educational Management in Philippine Normal University. His work experience, I have to say, it's very diverse. He's been teaching for more than 20 years. He began his teaching journey as a computer teacher, values teacher, biology and chemistry teacher, math and science teacher, and English teacher from different private and public schools in Metro Manila and in Las Piñas, particularly. He was a science coordinator and science teacher in T.S. Cruz High School, Las Piñas City, prior to his teaching in Manila. He was also a middle school science teacher in Palmetto Middle School, a middle school science teacher as well in Hemingway Lee Middle School, and presently biology teacher in Odessa High School, Texas, USA. He was a science and math tutor for Chinese and Korean students and a scholar of Salamat Po Kai International Scholarship from first year high school until college graduation. He is a recipient of $3,000 grant from Science Plus Institute. Ladies and gentlemen, join with me in welcoming our resource speaker this morning. Let's all give him a round of applause, a resounding virtual applause to Mr. Carlos C. Manalastas III. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you guys. I am humbled. Let me just say that I am really humbled by all of those people who spoke before me, and I'm particularly humbled that I have been asked by my dear friend, Ms. Tamano, Professor Tamano, to share some of the things that I have learned through my years of teaching. Now, a bit of a disclaimer, guys. I'm not an expert, but I will share whatever I have gained through the years of teaching, both in the Philippines and here in the United States. So um, I am thankful. I'm gonna try to do my very best to share to you what would, basically something that I have been using and I have been doing here through this new normal that we are experiencing. I don't know how it will be applicable, but I'm trying to see, you know, pick up something that would work for you, something that you can use, something that would benefit your students or you in particular when you are, doing your presentation as you guys are still going through the College of Education with your courses and all. All right, let me begin by sharing my screen. Now, two things that I am asking from you guys is if you're able to open another browser, because my presentation would be interactive. Um, I like to interact with, my students, and I want to get an immediate feedback to whatever I'm presenting out there. That way, that will direct me in the course of my teaching, and it will also help me in assessing how my students are learning. All right, so I'm going to share my screen if I'm able to. What I want you guys to do, let me just pull it up. What I want you to do is to go to nearpod.com, and I have closed it. I couldn't open it earlier because I couldn't control my own screen. But what I want you to do, and this is one thing that I have been using even before our school has purchased this. Um, I have been using it for free, and I am known that it's also available there in the Philippines. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna have live participation, and this is the code that you will use. I'm gonna resume this because I have already started it earlier before this. I don't know why it closed. Now, I'm gonna copy this link and type it on the chat. And in your browser, if you could, if I can only chat, I don't know why, over here. There you go. All right, now I'm gonna type for everyone, okay? Everyone in the meeting, everyone watching, you can also do this. And this is the link that you need to click on, and you don't have to register for it. It will just give you that code. And the code is, let me go back. The code is shown in your screen, and let me know if you guys are seeing my screen as well, so that before I start my presentation. Now, I will also let you see how many of you have actually been able to, join using that code that is on the upper left side. Now, I have sent a link on the chat on how you guys can join and interact with me, and you would also see how this can be applied in your particular setting there in the Philippines. All right, so I'm gonna wait a few minutes for participants. Let me know if you are able. I have one already here. that it's showing me Sir Arnold is here already. All right, so if you guys can log in so that we can interact together, this would really help me with my presentation for today. And it would really help you as well to learn how to use this particular tool that I'm sharing with you. Now, a lot of the things that I will be sharing are for free. If you are being asked for, to sign up or subscribe to it, choose the free option. You can still make use of it. You can still use it for your class, even though it's for free. Okay, and this particular one I'm using now, as I've said, before our school even purchased a license for us teachers, I've been using it for free, and I was not having any problem or issues whatsoever. That's why I wanted to share this with you guys. All right, so I have 5 people. I don't know if others are able to join, but anytime during this presentation, you can actually jump in as long as you join them using the code that you see here on your left. All right, so today I was asked by my dear friend to share whatever tools that can be used either, in assessing students asynchronously or synchronously. And I'm pretty much sure that you guys are aware with, how this synchronous and asynchronous learning is going about in the Philippines right now. Now, it's going to be a different scenario uh, with, certain things, but I'm really believing that eventually we will come to that point in the Philippines that we will also be doing the same things like what we are doing here now. All right, let us begin. I'm just going to minimize. All right, now I have a poll that I want you guys to answer. You can just choose from the options there. And the question is, how much do you know about synchronous and asynchronous assessment tools? So here you would see that once you turn in your answer, once you click on your answer, you would see the information actually appearing. Okay, so students can learn and can see actually, and me as a teacher in particular would be able to see, okay, where are my students at the moment, okay, as far as this topic that I'm introducing is concerned. Now, it doesn't have to be this topic that I'm presenting, it could be anything. Your subject may be math, your subject may be English, or your subject may be science, or even Filipino or social studies. This is something that you can use. Of course, you just have to modify it to fit your particular content area. All right, so here, because I'm going to be sharing this with you guys, I need to know where everyone is, right? So that will give me a clue, and that will give me a sense of direction and how I will proceed with it. Okay, whether I would, breeze through it or take more time and explain it, because your student data would basically tell you, you know, the direction of the teaching learning that should be taking place inside your classroom. And that is one thing that I have learned, even in the Philippines. We do item analysis every time students would take their tests. After that, we would assess whether they have mastered certain skills or certain standards that we were asking them to master at that particular point. And we would look at the least mastered skills. And what do we do with those least mastered skills? We do some intervention and help, for the students to be able to either learn it, master it. We give them other materials that can help them gain that particular skill or standard. All right, so if you would look at the screen, and the question was, how much do you know about synchronous and asynchronous assessment tools? And you would see that a lot of those who have answered has chosen C, and maybe one person has chosen B, right? So I'm banking on that one person to help me out with this. All right, for the rest, I am sure that you guys don't have little knowledge, but you have ample knowledge. You just don't realize it at this point. So let's continue. All right, so these objectives, the YRC officers were able to talk about it earlier, so I'm not going to go through that, the same thing again. Now, what I want us to do at this particular time is to climb. Right? So this is something that I'm sure your students will enjoy. Okay, like you're actually assessing them, but they're actually having fun in the process. So again, what I need you to do, and because it's the holiday season, I'm going to choose the theme for holidays. And what I want you to do is again join. Right? Those who are already the 20 people that has decided to join. Okay, you will see your characters there. And then after everyone is ready, I can start it. And this is again one way for you to know immediately where your students are at. It is, one thing that I have learned. It's a pattern in which I do things, in which I would basically go about my lesson for the day. Okay, so it could start with a do now activity. It could start with a simple question, and that will direct basically how the class will proceed from then on. So after you have chosen your characters, and we are still waiting for other players, out of the 20, 11 has already connected. Okay. All right, so I think it's safe for me to start. Now, my first question is, when do we assess learning? Since we're talking about assessment tools, whether done synchronously or asynchronously, when do we assess learning? Now, I know the new normal that we are going through makes it extremely hard and difficult. Okay? All right. So you would see there basically where you stand compared to the others. Question number 2. These are summative and performance-based assessments. All right. So in first place is Randian, followed by, I cannot remember the other person's name, and the third is Professor Nia. Third question, formative, real-time, and diagnostic assessment. Have different groups of people in the first, second, and third place. Question number 4, self-examination by the learner. right, so congratulations to our overall leaders. Norhata Mapandi is first place, followed by Arnold, and Jocelyn will be third. All right, so what I did here, okay, is actually assessing my group of students already, or my audience for this particular time, right? So where are you at this point? And that will help me understand, okay, whether how familiar you are with the topic. Now, three things that were covered in that particular quiz: assessment of learning, assessment for learning, and assessment as learning. Now, we are basically very much aware of all of these things. We have been practicing it, even in the Philippine educational system. We are traditional in a way because we are mostly using assessment of learning by using our summative assessments. This is one way for us to assess, or judge results against standards, against a set of competencies. Now, this most traditional use of assessment can reveal how the learner and the system are performing over time. And I'm pretty much sure you guys are familiar with that. The second one is assessment for learning. Guys think that what I did with the poll that I started with and the time to climb that I have also used is something that falls under assessment for learning. Okay. This is assessment that provides immediate feedback, both to the learners and of course to the teacher or the adult, okay, in trying to develop knowledge, skills, and dispositions while learning is actually happening. You need that information basically, as you can, because it directs how you teach, how your teaching will proceed, right? And the last one is assessment as learning. Now, is self-examination by the learner. This is assessment that supports the development of metacognition. And this is, trying to understand how a learner thinks, thinking about how a learner thinks. Okay, so that's assessment as learning. Now, this is used as an assessment that provides a kind of self-awareness needed to become a better learner. If you know how you are learning and you are able to be aware of the difficulties that you encounter and what are your strengths and weaknesses as you learn, then it helps you become a better learner. Now, assessment for and as learning should be used more predominantly to drive instruction. And I'm a firm believer in this one because you need data to drive your instruction. You just don't teach out there, like one size fit all. Your learners are diverse, your learners come from different backgrounds, your learners are at different skills, at different levels as well. Okay, and you need to be able to cater and differentiate your instruction to the needs of your learners. Now, this would promote student awareness of their own learning, and that would, elevate them to become, critical thinkers, to become fully aware, what is something that I can do to help me learn content or topic, and that would, basically help me in performing well in assessments. Now, assessments help learners and adults, as I've said earlier, to identify progress and challenges and tailor strategies and pathways toward mastery. This is where your intervention comes. This is where you understand that your learner is at this level, and what you need to do is to modify your instruction or to give the learner maybe a small group discussion, maybe a one-on-one session, maybe give the student a different material, still you know aligned to the standards, but in a different form, maybe. And this is one thing that I have learned here in the United States, and that is making accommodations for your learners. Do they need extra time? Do they need other resources to help them learn? Do they need because they're not native speakers, they're not native English speakers, so they need, you know, thesaurus or some other material that will help them learn your material. Now, assessments are embedded in the learning experience, and that's what I've been mentioning. You know, it's not something that you just do at a particular time. It's supposed to be happening as learning is taking place, because it provides opportunities to demonstrate mastery through performance-based tasks in real world settings. And that is something that we should always, you know, strive to do, and to make our learners what ready for the world, and not just learning stuff that, you know, they cannot apply in their everyday life. You know, I think problem-based learning is more into this, doing fast. And I know, because in the Philippines, even before I left, I was an English teacher before I became a science teacher in the public school and other positions that I filled. I know how performance tasks are very important, and I don't know how it's being done now with the new normal, with modules that are being implemented and being used, and with, you know, worksheets. I don't know how that is going about, and if that is at all working in and benefiting our learners there in the Philippines. But I'm hoping that it's actually able, you know, to make sure that our students, even if they're learning asynchronously or synchronously or learning remotely, are able to meet those standards and those competencies that they need before they proceed to their next level. Now, what I will be sharing in particular today are assessment tools. I know that sometimes we think like, how do I develop assessment tools? Well, we as teachers have been learning, and you are a student teacher, you have been learning about how to create tests, how to create tools that will help you assess your learners. Now, I'm just going to be sharing some techniques that I'm using to measure my students' academic abilities, skills, or fluency in a given subject, or to measure one's progress toward academic proficiency in a specific subject area. This is where your learning competencies come into play, because, you know, what you're testing should be according to the standards, according to the competencies that you are, you know, using at that particular moment. Now, educators would use assessment tools to make informed decisions regarding strategies to enhance student learning. And I have been making that point since the beginning of my presentation, that when you know where your students are at, where your learners are at, it will help drive your teaching process. It will help drive you, how will my students learn this topic? What kinds of interventions do I need to make? What resources should I be using to help them learn it? Okay. And not just going through, you know, the traditional way of doing things. Because after all, for the longest time now, we have been learning that it's not teacher centered, it's always student centered. You know, it's not, you know, me coming this is how I feel also at this particular time. I am not the expert. I'm not the, you know, I didn't even claim as an expert. I'm not the only authority in this topic. There are others. Even my students can help me learn something new. All right. So right now I'm going to share with you guys 10 things and more, if the time will permit, okay, that I've been using. All right. But before I go into that, okay, this is again one way for you to connect to your students, right? This is it's called the collaborate board. And if you have noticed as well, in my presentation, I have already incorporated all of these things. Now, whether I do this live, as I am doing now, the live presentation, or I assign it to my students in Google Classroom or whatever learning management system you guys are using, if I assigned it and they do it at their own time, they can still interact with the material. They can still interact with this. And and you would see students' ideas being generated. Now, what I want you to do is to give me a brief description of synchronous and asynchronous assessment. Could be a word, a phrase. You can even go to the Google search and find an image and place that there. All right. So I have synchronous means real time. Thank you. Okay. Any other about 31 and 32, if the number is already increasing, that will also help you as a teacher if you're checking for engagement in your students. How many of my students are actually engaged at the particular moment if I'm doing synchronous? Okay, so simultaneous. What about asynchronous? I'm seeing the word synchronous here, the description or definition or words associated with synchronous. What about asynchronous? Okay, among the 33 people that have joined, your ideas are welcome. Don't worry, your names are not appearing, supposed to be on your screen, but on my screen since I'm presenting it. Okay, and this is one thing also that you can, do. Since I'm sharing my screen, you can see the names of the people who have shared their ideas. But if you're doing it with your student and you're actually you're not sharing your screen with them, they will not see the other students' names, and that will not prevent them from participating or sharing their thoughts because people are afraid, to share their ideas. But again, this is called a collaborate board, and it's like a normal recitation that you do in school when you were still inside the classroom, which you can do remotely, which you can do live or on time or simultaneous, or you can do it and assign it and still see those ideas being generated or exchanged. All right, so thank you for those people who shared their ideas. Okay, online learning, see, even putting an image, and that is something that your students can do, right? They can go and Google an image of what you are asking them, and that's one way for you to see that your students are actually, trying to learn your material. All right, so thank you so much for those who gave their answers. Let's move on. Okay, so as I've said, I'm going to be sharing synchronous and asynchronous assessment tools. I have given a link. I'm going to share this with Professor Nia. If ever you guys are interested, I'm going to also put it in the chat. You can look at this presentation, click on the links that are there. Give me feedback as well if it's giving you a dead link, but most of it is working. All right. Number 10, Mentimeter. Now, what is Mentimeter? Now that link, menti.com, is actually for your students. So this is what Mentimeter looks like. Only I can find it. All right, so if it's not there, I'm gonna open it. All right, so you go to mentimeter.com, and it's again for free, right? So it's for free. Give me a second. I'm just gonna click on that other one. But normally your students, okay, once you go in here, that's what the code that they will enter, and I have, no, this is my Padlet, Socrative. There you go. I'm sorry. Give me a second, people. I'm sorry. It's supposed to be a tool that you use, okay? And I'm not sure why it's not pulling up at the moment. Okay, my spelling is wrong, that one. There you go. Sorry. All right, now a Mentimeter, okay, is a way for you to again get that, you can assign this. This is one assessment tool that you can use. You can make a presentation. I have here like a presentation that you can make. You can sign up and it's for free, right? It's a way for you to again assess your students. Let me see what I have placed in here. Okay, so one thing that you can do here, and if you would notice, the students go to menti.com and would use that particular code that is in there. Now, it's either a question that you would post, and you can ask, your students, either limit them to one answer per participant or 3 answers. It's entirely up to you. Now, I could type in here, what do you associate with assessment? And if you guys would go to menti.com, you would use the code 4064884. That will help you, and I can type that in the chat. Okay, so if you go there, and this would be something that you can do live with your students. And again, you can also do this asynchronously, right? Now you can do what I call like a word cloud, and that's what you're seeing right now, okay, which is a word cloud. And I know my friend, Professor Nia, who used to be an English teacher, knows the importance of a word cloud, okay? And this word cloud will also give you a clue, are those words, what's that particular word that most of the respondents have, basically used, okay? And that will help you also get that immediate feedback that you need and address certain misconceptions or address what you need to address at that particular time. All right, so if you would look at that, it's changing, as you look at the screen. Let me know if you guys are not seeing my screen. Please, somebody tell me. This is one drawback of virtual classes. Sometimes if you're not using these tools, you don't know if you're talking to somebody out there, especially with mics off and cameras off. You don't have that feedback unless you make use of something that will help you, make sure your learners are engaged at a particular time. For all of those who put in the information regarding that question, this is one tool that you guys can use. And this cannot just be used or it can be applied in any content area. Any subject can use this, okay? You just have to particularly modify it. And I have put in there the links, and I cannot go through everything like step by step, but there are links there that you can click. And of course, YouTube is our friend. Anything that we want to learn, and I hope you guys have that particular mentality as well. If you needed to learn something and you don't have access to the training at the moment, then look for it in YouTube, and that will help you understand and at least start with the basic skills of particular applications. All right, let's move on. So this is how Mentimeter works. I'm just going to close this because there's so many things happening on my screen at the moment. So let's go to number 9. Okay, so Mentimeter allows you to create your questions and your slides. The students connect to the presentation and answer the questions. And as you have noticed and as you have seen, the results are shown in real time. Number 9, and this is what I love to use, and this is what I'm using at the moment, actually, Nearpod. Now, you have joined Nearpod through the code T6D7B. Now, I'm doing it live. Now, let's go to Nearpod. How do we use it? How do we go and use Nearpod? And I'm not going to do this. Now, one thing I want you to understand is when you are using someone else's Google slide, make a copy of it. Because if you have been allowed access to it and edit it, you can totally mess it up. And then, the person who shared it with you would have a hard time restoring everything back to its original state. So one thing that you can do, and this is Google Slide, and I know it's for free, you can go to File, you can make a copy of the entire presentation. And this is what we normally do here in Odessa, in the Odessa High School. We in the biology group in the high school where I am now currently teaching, we have our own science building, and the biology teachers alone are like maybe 20 to 30 people that teach that particular subject. It's a very big school. If I would compare it to MSU, we have our own performing arts center. We have a fine arts building. We have a science building, and we have so many facilities, which I hope and pray that eventually in the Philippines, our learners will have access to those resources. Okay, now, here is how we use Nearpod. And I'm going to use one of my other presentations because I, again, do not want to mess with this one. I'm going to open one from my Google Drive. Okay, so I'm just going to use let's say this one that my wife shared with me with her class. She's also a biology teacher. I'm going to use this. And let's see how we can use Nearpod with this. If only if it would open. All right. Now, Nearpod is an add-on. Okay. If I want, this is a traditional, PowerPoint or Google Slide with your presentation of your topic and all. And this is how my wife is using this platform in order to, teach her students. And if you would look at this slide, it will have her agenda. It will have her quote of the day. It will have, whatever she wants her students to be doing at that particular day. And then it even relates, and that's a bell ringer or a do now activity, and something about COVID. Now, how do we use Nearpod here? Now, it's an add-on, and it's again for free. There is a paid subscription to it, but most of it is for free. You can use it for free, and you can still have access to a lot of stuff that Nearpod has. So what I do is I open Nearpod, and what it will allow me to do on the right side of my slides, it will give me options. Okay, let's say this particular slide that I have here, give one thing about COVID. I want it to be, where's my collaborate? Okay, so if you look at that, these are the things that I have used. Okay, I collaborate board. If I'm going to use that, it will add that slide. Okay, and I can use that same question, give one thing you know about COVID-19. And of course, you can choose, from the different styles that are there, are available. I'm going to use this one. I'm going to save it. Okay. And that has already been added to my slide, which makes my PowerPoint presentation or my Google slide interactive. Now, whether I do this synchronously or asynchronously, it doesn't really matter. I still get the same results because of this particular feature that will allow my students to interact with the material that I will give them. Now, you can ask them to draw. You can even ask them, and this is something that I was gonna try to do, but time did not permit. If I go to a different one, let's say this particular slide here, let me move. Okay, so if I want, and my wife even has that link for quizzes, which I'm gonna share with you later. Let's say I want to use Flipgrid at this slide. And Flipgrid is another way if you are into performance tasks, if you are into reporting, if you are into asking students to do something and they need to present it through a video because they cannot do it personally, this is one way for you to do this. Okay, so you can insert that topic that you want, and Flipgrid is another thing that you can learn. I'm hoping I will have the time to share it later, but this is one way, and then you will also insert the link and how students can join and post their videos and respond to it. My son, who was 7th grade last year, was in a band. And then their teacher, since COVID has, altered everyone's lives, their teacher would post a video of her playing a particular piece that they need to learn. And then my son, and he's playing a French horn, has to record himself doing that, and his teacher and other classmates can see their work. And of course, that allows not only for the teacher to assess, but allows for connection, which is something that we all need during these very difficult times, connection. Now, this is how you would use Nearpod, and there's so many things that you can do. I set up a review and I use fill in the blanks. You can have a virtual field trip that you can put in there. If you want your students, you can ask them to draw. You can, have open-ended questions attached, even, and this is what I use most especially, your simulation, a link to your simulation of the topic that you are trying to teach. And of course, we did this, time to climb. Okay, so all of these things you can explore on your own time, because I don't know if we will be able to go through it in detail at this particular time. All right, let's proceed. So this is how to use Nearpod. Now, later on, I will direct you to the sites or the links that will be available for you. All right, number 8. And again, this is student based or teacher based. You can actually create a lessons. And this is what is currently available to me because my school has purchased it. I can create a lesson, but even if it's for free, there's like a gazillion library of lessons that other teachers have used. You can edit it. One thing though that you cannot do with Nearpod is copy paste their slides, but you can edit whatever existing slides there is. Now, there is a free version. You can find a lesson that will fit your subject matter or your particular topic. Number 8, Kahoot. I am sure that you guys in the Philippines are familiar with Kahoot. If you are not, we're going to play a simple game. And again, this is a way for us to assess our learners. And this I love to use, especially when I am doing a review. After a topic has been no, this is already for the students when you enter the pin. All right, now, I already have an account with Kahoot, and it's again for free. Again, you would see here, basic, pro, always use free. Okay, if there's something that is free, make use of it. If it is out there, make use of it. You can actually create your own, and this is, to tailor fit it to your topic, to your subject. You can create your own. Okay, or you can just, go and find something like anything and absolutely anything. Like during this, season, I would, put in, choose maybe like Disney something or anything actually, you can choose and you can start it. Okay, you can start that game, and again, it's an interactive thing. It's a fun thing. My students in the middle school will always tell me, "Are we doing Kahoot?" No, okay, because that's something that they need to look forward to. Okay, that's something that they should be, able to do. But this is how it works. Let's say I'm gonna do marble, right? And I can choose any of these that were created by other people. Okay, it will tell you whether it's, and there's like 10 questions, 10 questions, and if I click on one, okay, and these are the questions, and you can screen the questions. Are those the questions that you like? And then of course we can play it. Okay, you can either do it for your, to teach, play a live game, or assign. So synchronous or asynchronous. Okay, so we won't do that at this particular time. But if you want, we can, you can explore it at a later time. So again, you can do it either live together with your learners or assign it, and they can do it at their own particular time. All right, so that's Kahoot for you. Now the code changes depending on the game that you will have. Okay, and you need them all, to type in that code in order for them to join your game. Now, if you would look at this, these are links that will help you if you are interested in using it, if you still are not using it. Because even before I left the Philippines, I know certain people have been using that already. All right, number 7, Socrative. Now, what is Socrative? So this is Socrative for you. Again, it's a way for us to do, create a room where our students can have that discussion, group discussion, or again, you can again assess your students. If I'm going to launch, I will click, of course, this is free. What I'm using is for free. I can launch it, and these are the options that are available for me. Quiz, space race, exit ticket, the question could be multiple choice, true or false, or short answer. Now, what is an exit ticket? Anytime that, in order for you to quickly assess your students' learning for that particular day, before they leave your classroom, maybe like 5 minutes before the time, give them like a question, or let's say, ask them in 3 sentences or in 3 words, summarize what we have learned for the day. That's an exit ticket. Okay. And this is one way for you to do that as well. Or create your own quiz. If I'm going to create a quiz, I can just click that. It's asking me an option because I have started one. I have made one, okay, an untitled quiz, and I'm just going to choose that. And I can either have a live, session of this, which means instant feedback for the students. They can either, navigate on their own, or again, teacher face. And, you will be able to direct that depending on the needs of your students. If I require instant feedback, okay, I don't need their names, I don't need nicknames, I don't need like, um, aliases. I need their name so that when, you want to use it as a grade or you want to use it for data purposes, then you have that information. You can, give them feedback to the question that they've already answered. Okay, if they answered it incorrectly or correctly, it will give them feedback. And you can also, show them their final score. You can even, but this is again not for free, determine whether they can do it once only, twice, or thrice. And that is something that I allow my students to do, have multiple attempts in learning or getting, get the highest score in a particular quiz or a particular assessment. All right, and then we can start that. And if you start that, okay, the students have to go to Socrative.com and log in, not as a teacher, but as a student, and they will look for that room. Okay, they will be asked, and you will give them that room number, and they will be able to, you can see from your screen, where they are at, how are they responding, okay, and, again, it's an immediate feedback for you of how learning is taking place. All right, so that is Socrative for you. Now, let me know, again, there are certain things that you can, if that information is something that you were not able to get at this particular time, you can always, search for that information that you need to help you. But I will try my best to guide you. I'm just trying to go through this, and not rob the other speaker of his time. Now, it could be a quiz, space race, exit ticket, multiple choice, true or false, or short answer. Again, the classroom code, and that's what you saw earlier. Okay. And then the result table, instant feedback for the students. Okay. When they're taking it, either directed by the teacher, as they take it. And then, of course, there are quizzes that are already pre-made, or you can create your own. And I like to create my own because it depends on the learners. And if I have my first period are like advanced, then the questions would be tailored to them. If my second period is a bit, still struggling, then you tailor the quiz to them as well. You don't just give one assessment that fits everyone. If you notice in my first picture that I sent, it's a very small one, is a caricature of different animals and a tree, and the test was for all the animals, including an elephant, to climb the tree. Do you think that's a fair kind of assessment or a fair kind of task that is given to all of them? So that's how we are sometimes as teachers. We think like one size fits all, but no. You have to tailor fit it to your learners because after all, you want them to meet the standards. All right, number 6, Jamboard. Now, one thing that we need to learn, okay, is collaborate. Your institution, MSU, is a good ground, a good place where collaboration is taking place. And this is one way that we collaborate, we exchange ideas. Now, it's not only among professionals that this should be done. Of course, it should also be done through the learners level. Our students need to collaborate with one another because they need connections, not just collaborating and sharing ideas and generating, the ideas that you need them to generate, but also to make those connections that they unfortunately do not have because of our new normal. Okay, now this is Jamboard. It's a collaborative board. I can be typing something, I can put a text, and again, this is Google Jamboard and it is for free. I can type a text, let's say, okay, and that's a very general question for a science student to learn. Now, that question is there. You can attach images and pictures. In the previous slide here, you would see, you can even use, if you're a math teacher, this is a graph paper, okay? And this is like, certain pictures that you put in, and which are all life cycles. Now you can assign each slide to your students, and all you have to do is to share the link. Okay, so anyone with this link can access, no sign in required. So it's not difficult, right, for your students to interact with your material. Now you can assign it to them. Let's say a group of students would work on this particular slide, and all of them would be able to see those edits being done by other students as well. Okay. And you as the teacher can also see how is it happening. Do you need to address a particular misconception at that particular moment? And if you can do it live, you can of course do it at their own pace and still see those things happening. So here they can interact with the material, they can move it around because it depends on the instruction that you gave them. All right. So that's how Jamboard is. One thing that how I was using this is like, if you go back to that particular slide, okay, I'm using it like a whiteboard. Instead of, writing on my whiteboard, I'm using this because everyone can see it. They just have their own devices if I'm not projecting it on the screen. So I'm using it, and then they can interact, whether they are at home or they are there inside my classroom. They can interact with the material. And again, that's a way, again, of doing formative assessment. Okay? Right. All right, number 5. I don't know if someone was talking, if I'm being given a signal to stop, just let me know. Okay? Or there's any difficulty. So these are some of the applications of this particular app, right? As a whiteboard, you can use post-its, pictures, you can ask them to draw even. Quizlet, okay? Now Quizlet, no, that's not Quizlet. This is Quizlet here. Could be used, and again, there is a free version that you can perfectly use. And what I did, okay, is I could either create my own or choose from whatever is there. And since I was like teaching this topic, I just look for that particular topic, and it will give me like flashcards, which is a way for you to help your students learn certain, terminologies, or to remember certain procedures, right? And you can use it as a flashcard. They can, write, they can, do the test, and that's what the test looks like. Okay, so, and they can answer, right? I know in the Philippines is modular. It's all paper-based. But I'm really hoping that we deviate, not only, not just give them one thing, but give them diversity and variation, so that, they won't get bored with the material. Answering a gazillion number of worksheets and reading a lot of paper in the 21st century is like going backwards. Let me just put it out there. It's like going backwards. I'm hoping that DepEd would realize that. All right, so this is Quizlet. Now, another thing, and I'm just going to close everything that I'm done with, because it's really a lot of open tabs. One-on-one technology, if it's, present. If not, then, certain students can share a device. Okay, you could either do it live or assigned, or you can even project it if that's the case. During your Zoom meeting or Google Meet meeting, you can present your screen to your students. All right, number 4, Padlet. If you're an English teacher or a social studies teacher, or even, any other subject for that matter, you can use Padlet. And one thing that I like, and I will share with you guys what my 8th grade son is doing at the moment. And this is one of his assignments. Okay, Indian Removal Act. Using the music video, map, and provided song lyrics, explain its references to the Indian Removal Act and Trail of Tears. Share a verse that could be added to the lyrics, or something that could be added to the video. Now, you're encouraging exchange of ideas, but more so, you're encouraging each student, and this is my son's here, I'm gonna read it. At the first few seconds of the music video, a boy glances at the book featuring images of Native Americans. So you would see there everyone's response. And one good thing that this Padlet allows the students to do is to make comments on another person's idea or work, which would cater to collaboration, which would cater to feedback as well. And of course, you set the tone. The teacher would say, okay, you can only comment on their material, not attacking them personally. Do you understand that? You have to set the parameters. Otherwise, it could be anything there that can be posted. You as a teacher would direct that. But this is a good tool, especially for English teachers and social studies teachers. If you want exchange of ideas. If you want to collaborate with others and you would really want to see how your students are writing their essays, this is one tool that you can use, right? It could be some performance task that you can assign to your students. All right. So online message board, all you have to do is give them a link or QR code to join. Now, only the owner, which is you, the teacher, can move or change, but they can only just put in their ideas, okay, or whatever it is you're asking from them. Now, the link is there, how to create and use a Padlet, and of course, YouTube is your friend. Number 3, Peer Deck. Now, earlier I used Nearpod and I'm still using Nearpod. Peer Deck is another add-on and it's again for free for Google Slides. Instead, I'm going to close Nearpod here, and that add-on here on Google Slide will allow me, if it's not there, then it will prompt you to add it on as a Google extension. You can open Peer Deck add-on. I used to use Peer Deck before I met Nearpod, and I love Nearpod more than I love Peer Deck. So here again, you can have their own template. They have their own template pre-made. Let me show you a sample of that. Let's say you are doing a beginning of your lesson, which is your bell ringer or do now activities. You can have either this slide here. Okay, so now it's inserted. So it would be an instruction for you once your students enter your classroom, or you can do it again asynchronously. Okay, give them instructions and then direct them on what they needed to do for that day. If it's like a set of directions that you want to give them, right? So that's in the beginning of the lesson. You can ask them like, draw two things you already know about today's topic. And I think as a teacher, that's really, really essential, right? And then of course, you can start your lesson, and like Nearpod, it's gonna be interactive as well, which allows for that immediate feedback that helps you with your teaching for that particular day. Now, there are so many other ways that you can use Nearpod, depending, and again, there are templates that are ready. You can use it as a text, multiple choice, number, website, draw, draggables. But, if you see that star, that means, those are the paid versions. But again, this is one way for you to do. It's another tool that you can use to make, your particular lesson interactive, and a way for you to insert assessment as you teach. During the teaching learning process, assessment is already embedded there. All right. Second one. Okay, formative, goformative.com, from the word formative. That will give you a clue what it is, form of assessment. And again, I don't know why I opened it, but it's not there. But let's just type it. So this is something that I have already signed up for. And again, it will tell you try the premium, but again, go for the free. Okay, so you can have, create your new formative assessment. Okay, so you have choices that you can, use if it's a free version or it's not a free version. Those that are not those that are faded out are something that you cannot, assign or use. Those that are, visible are some things that you can use. So you can, again, use this as a form of assessment, assign it, and you can look at the responses of your students. Okay. So pretty much the same thing, whiteboard, video, image, multiple choice, even an essay, multiple selection. Sometimes we want our students to choose 2 or 3 answers that are correct or that are essential information for that particular question. So that this would allow you to do that. All right, now the last one that I want to share. Okay, and again, go formative for teachers, formative assessment that you can use, quick feedback. Okay, you can create lists of your class. You can create, just use a class code. You can allow students to see or don't see their answers and scores, and the link is there and it's for free. The last one that I want to share is quizzes. Okay, and what this allows me to do again, and I use this for my regular quizzes. Anything that I'm looking for mostly is there. Okay, because other people have already made them. Okay, or again, it will give you that chance to create your own. And let's do this very quickly. I'm going to start a live quiz. And the topic is very contemporary. I'm sure you guys know who these people are. So it could either be classic or instructor pace. Okay. One thing that I did is instructor pace, and every time they answer a question, and I'm gonna go there. Okay. I can continue. I can do the settings. We're in shuffle answer, play music. Uh, I can assign it actually, but since I'm doing it instructor pace, I want to do it live. I'm just going through whatever is there. Okay, so there are 10 questions to this. And in order for you to join, all you have to do is to go to joinmyquiz.com and enter the code 972837. Okay. Join my quiz. And the code is 9728. And I'm just going to show you one interesting thing about this. That's why I like it. Okay. So you can click on that, click on that link or type that on your web browser, enter the code. Okay, so I already have a student. Okay. So Randy is already here. Someone else can join so that I can show you how this works. All right, Leanne. And I can start this.
10, 7, 3, 9.
All right, so again, it's in a game format. Which one of these are members of Mamamoo? And I actually don't know them. I'm so sorry. I don't know them. I just, randomly pick whatever is there that I think would be interesting. Okay, and you would see there all the responses. You can set the time on this as well. And again, you can create your own. Okay, or use what's already out there. Now, since this is instructor pace, the students will go through the question as I want them to go through the question. You would see your leaderboard. Okay. You would see the data, of course, of how many people chose the right answer, and who did not choose the right answer, and what does that allow you to have immediate data that you need to address misconceptions, to address, or it could be one teachable moment, that you would grab because you saw immediate results. Okay, they did not understand, they did not grasp the concept well enough at that particular point. You can go to the next question. All right. And then one thing that I like also about quizzes, if I do it and I assigned it to them, if you do the live, the classic version of this, you would see there which question they had the most difficult time answering. Okay, which question it take them a lot of time to answer? Which question did the whole group not answer, correctly? So that is again a way for you to do intervention, okay, before you proceed to your next topic. All right. So this now is why I love quizzes. Okay. Again, it gives me that immediate feedback that I need. And the students also see, okay, if you notice, more people made a mistake compared to the ones who got it right. And that's again data that helps drive your instruction. Now I am going to end this game. As much as I know, we can play it the whole day, but I'm going to end this game. Okay. And after I end this game, as I have said, it will give me the leaders, okay, those who, perform very well. It will give me that accuracy for the whole class. Where are they at? What is the toughest question? What was the longest time, or the question that took them the longest time to answer? Okay. And then it will give me other interesting facts, and it will give me that immediate data. These are the number of people who did not answer question number 2 correctly. These are the number of people who answered it correctly. And this is immediate. You don't have to ask your students, raise your hand. You answered, this is very immediate, okay? Which helps you know, okay? Am I, able to, bring my students where they needed to be as far as this competency, as far as the skill is concerned. All right, so I'm gonna exit this. Okay, one last thing that I wanted to share, which is very, very basic as well. Now, again, quizzes would allow for interactive learning. It's in a game format. You can assign it as a homework. And the good thing is, after, you get all of those results and you wanted to use it as a grade, you can just generate an Excel sheet and it will generate that report so that you can put it in your grade. One other thing that I want to share with you guys is Google Form. I did not use Google Form before I taught at Odessa, but one thing that I found out is it's a good tool to use, not only in making assessments or creating your own assessments. It's also a very quick tool. Let's say for me, I would have, and I'm going to show that to you guys. Okay, so here on the right side, you would see there, this is a waffle where all of your Google apps are. And if you go down, you would see, the different ones. And I'm praying, because last time I was looking, it's not appearing, that I will see Google Forms. Okay, see, again, I don't see Google Forms, but I'm just gonna go to my drive, okay, and pull up one of my forms, okay? The reason why I like this and the reason why I'm not seeing it as well is because I am not in the account where I need it to be, all right? So I'm gonna go to my school account, and this is one way that I have used Google Forms. This one here. All right, now I created a quiz on Google Forms and then generated the responses to an Excel sheet. Okay, and there I could see there when my students took the tests or the quiz, the names, their scores, what were their answers for question number 1, question number 2, and so on and so forth. Okay, so again, it gives me immediate what? Results that I can use, immediate data that I can use as well to address whatever it is that needed to be addressed, like an intervention that needed to be done, if you need to give them more resources or materials so that they can master that particular concept or skill. All right. Now, how do we use Google Forms? Let me just, hopefully, will show this time. There you go. Okay, how do we use Google Forms? You can either come up with a blank. Okay, just type there, say quiz on assessments. Okay, and then you can give them instruction. Question number 1 could be a short answer. What is assessment? Okay, and since it's a short answer, it will automatically change. These are the options. It could be, a multiple choice, drop down, or whatever it is. But since I am looking for a short assessment and I am requiring them to answer that, it will not have those other it should be a short answer, short answer, okay? And then their answers. But because you want to use it as a quick tool, then more often than not, it's going to be a multiple choice question. You can put the choices in formative, summative, etc. Whatever it is that you want. You can even add a picture. And then, of course, you would click the correct answer. Which one is the correct answer? Okay. Right? And after that, you assign that to your students. You can now get the responses, generate a spreadsheet of their responses, and that will give you immediate, are they doing it? Have they done it? What are their scores? So this is how you use Google Form. And I will end with this because I know I took up so much time. Okay. Right now, I don't know if time will permit, this will be the question and answer portion. And thank you guys for being patient and taking your time to listen. And I'm hoping I was able to share something useful and relevant for you guys. So I'm going to
Thank you
stop
so
sharing
much,
the
Sir
screen.
Carl.
You're welcome, sir.
So we are very privileged and honored to have you, Sir Carl Manolastas. Your sharing was so relevant and insightful, especially to our dear students and attendees, where the heart of teaching and learning is assessment. Your time is very much appreciated amidst of your busy schedule, but you gave time for us, your fellow Filipino learners. Not only that, our dear teachers and educators are also given a clear picture and insights on how the development of synchronous and asynchronous tools in assessment has been done through your given applications that we can use, especially in this new normal of this digital era. So to express our gratitude and appreciation to our resource speaker, you'd like to present this certificate of appreciation. Mindanao State University College of Education, Marawi City. Department of Secondary Teaching, Office of the Research and Extension Services, College of Education Young Researchers Club, present this certificate of recognition to Mr. Carlos M. Manalastas III in grateful recognition and appreciation of his lofty thoughts, brilliant ideas, and rich experiences shared with the topic, development of asynchronous and synchronous systems during the fifth CED DST ORES YRC online lecture series held on December 21, 2020, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. via Zoom. Signed, Dr. Montilla Jamila D. Sarip, Dean. Signed, Lorenzo D. Recoleta Jr., PhD, Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs. Signed, Professor Lotis B. Dagisunan, Chair, Department of Secondary Teaching. Signed, Professor Rosnia Gitamano, Extensions Coordinator and YRC Advisor. Signed, Dr. Warda D. Gimba, Research Coordinator and YRC Senior Advisor, and signed Ms. Raihana M. Pangkuga, YRC President. Thank you, Sir Carl.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And I'm really hoping and praying that I did not disappoint you guys. Thank you for the
Thank you,
time.
sir.
It's a privilege, guys. I really wanted to share whatever I can share with you in whatever capacity. It's really an honor for me. After listening to all of the dean, the vice president, and all, I was like humbled, really humbled to be even invited. So thank you guys for the opportunity, and I'm hoping that our participants were able to pick up one thing, essential or important that they can use in their everyday setting.
Thank you, sir. So at this juncture, ladies and gentlemen, we'll go ahead and take some time for questions coming from our viewers in Zoom and those watching through our Facebook live streaming. We may call on one of the moderators for the questions, Miss Norlele Makakna and Miss Lian Kimada of the Department of Secondary Teaching. Ma'am Lian and Miss Makakna.
All right, if there's no question.
Baka nag-prepare pa po, sir.
I hope I'll be able to answer your questions,
Hopefully,
guys.
sir.
If not, I will direct you to my friend, Professor Tamano.
Okay. Okay, Ma'am Lian and Miss Norlaila. Or some of our colleagues, maybe you have questions also. And for those attendees in Zoom, so we have attendees from other colleges at the university also participating with us today. I've seen Sir Ayan of the College of Health Sciences and Ma'am Roxanne of the College of Business Administration and Accountancy. Dear students, do you have questions?
All right, I saw some question from Alvin. I don't know if it's addressed to me or someone else. And I know you guys won't believe it. Even here in the United States, in Odessa, Texas, where I am currently teaching, we also have connectivity issues. And one thing that the government or the district is particularly doing for us is, to make sure that, access to internet is available for those students even in remote places. But of course, if we're having any difficulty with connection or internet, then we can always, using the same material, you know, modify it, make it into what? A paper version, right? It makes it easier for you to work on your modules instead of, and I have seen my friends over in the school where I used to teach in the public school, the too much paper is involved. Um, we know the attention span of our learners are not really that long. So if the attention span is not that long, then we have to cater to that attention span and not lose our students entirely. Have you ever asked the question, who's answering the modules? In the same way that when we do synchronous and asynchronous, we really could not tell exactly, right? Who's answering? That's why we're modifying it in a way that they are. Now, I know that those are challenges that are real that we face. If they do not have connectivity, then what's another option for them? Okay. Now, what I do with my students is, even if they're inside the classroom, they do not have their laptops with them, they do not have that way. And I said, do you want a paper version of this? Do you want the paper version of this? But of course, that paper version came from that same material that you use, right? The same material that you use, only not as engaging and not as interactive. Okay. Now, I'm just reading the questions that I'm seeing. Okay. What are your known limitations from experience with the use of synchronous platforms? Even with synchronous platform, I have my Google Meet on. My students are supposed to be there. The word there is supposed. They're supposed to be there, but not all of them are there. Okay. Which means what? I have a high percentage, even if I am like I have these resources, I still have a high percentage of students not able to attend their classes when they're supposed to. Now, what do you do? Of course, this is part of our work as teachers, not only in the Philippines, but also here in the United States. You follow them up. If you have to do home visits, if you have to make phone calls, then your student, your son, your daughter is not doing the work that they're supposed to be doing. This is where you go the extra mile. Okay, right? So there are limitations to everything. Nothing is a perfect formula or a perfect setup. Even Nearpod has limitations. We have like how many participants, but only how many people were able to connect. How many people, even though they're connected or logged in, participated, right? Now, those are the limitations that you can encounter, that I have encountered. Now, how can we ensure integrity? Well, that's a big question. But one thing, and I have done this as far as assignments that I've put in Google Classroom, and then I will ask them to attach their work. You as a teacher, you are the best person to know where your students are at. You're also the best person to know whether your students are turning in their work or another person's work. Now, one thing, if you're going to ask them to do it digitally, you can see all the edits that are done on that document. You can basically see, I had a subjective finals that I asked them to do, and you would see their red markings. I said, why are there red markings? And that's us as teachers. We do red markings on documents that they submit because those are their errors. So I asked the student, why are there red markings? And then you basically would understand that he just copied someone else's work. And then you would be able to address that issue also of academic integrity. Are they being honest? Are they turning in their work? Now, again, as a teacher, you're the best person who will be able to know that, because even though you don't encounter them on a regular basis, not in a face-to-face setting, whatever work they turned in, there's a pattern. And even though you have like a lot of students, you still will be able to determine that. Okay. Now, authentic assessment. Now, let me ask you, what is your understanding of authentic assessment, Alvin? When we say authentic assessment, now, when we say authentic assessment, as far as I remember, as far as I know, these are assessments that we use to measure what, or to give our students the opportunity to understand real life situations, something that is applicable to their setting, or something that they will be able to encounter in real life. And that's why most of the time when we do assessments, we make sure that when we like make our questions or do our performance tasks or whatever it is, that it caters to something that they actually will experience and can relate to. And that's where your problem-based assessments or problem-based learning comes into play. Okay, anything that is free, of course, will have limitations, but as I have mentioned, Nearpod, which I have used, guys, in presenting, even before my school used it, I was using it and I was not having any problem with it. The only limitation that I had before was like only 40 students can log in at a particular time. Then you can work a way out of that. Just generate a different code at a particular time so that more than 40 students can participate. Or let's say you have like 60 students in one period, then generate two codes, one for half of the class, the other code for the other half of the class. You can always work out a way, okay? So that, the free versions can who likes to pay? I have a paid Zoom account, and I've been paying like $15 a month. And I said, it's a waste because I'm only using it like once a week. Okay. So I said, I'm not going to pay $15 a month for something that I'm using just once a week. If I'm using it every day of that month, then might as well. The free version that I've shown you so far, I have used the free version. I did not show you anything that I paid for. I have shown you through my presentation, what you can do with the free version. Okay, so it could work, and if it's for free, why not use it? Why not? You just stick to something that you constantly are doing. Give them something different, something that will engage them. It's always about engaging our learners in whatever way that we can. Okay? And ensuring that can only be done, if you are, as a teacher, would be flexible, would use varied, strategies and techniques in looking at your learners, or in dealing with your learners. Well, students, can you put it this way, Nor Alaya, put it this way. You as a student, are you doing reports that you will submit to your teachers, to your professors? Do you use some of these tools that I have shared with you to make it, something that uh, would be more engaging as you present it? After all, and I know this from experience in the Philippines, when you're reporting, when you're presenting, you just don't want to do a lecture. You want your students to actually interact with you, with the lesson, and with the material, whether it is a technology or plain like whiteboard, blackboard, or manila paper for that matter, right? Basically, everything there is something that even a student can access. Okay. Yes, I am gonna, give me a second, share my PowerPoint. I'm gonna copy the link, and I am going to put it on the chat. I'm gonna give it to everyone. You can access it. Just make a copy, make your own copy of it. Go to File, make a copy of the entire presentation. And, it's something that you can click, and it will send you to that particular, app.
Okay.
Any
Thank
other
you, sir.
questions? Is there any other
Do you have
question that I failed
do you
to
have
answer?
do you have any questions from the viewers? I guess we don't have any questions as of
I
the
guess,
moment.
sir, wala, sir.
Okay. So thank you, Sir Carl, for giving that clear and direct to the point answers of those queries and questions from our viewers and attendees. Anyway, if we have some question, we might be giving that one to you through email. I hope you can also give us time for that particular question
No
that might be
problem.
given by.
As I've said, I couldn't say no to a dear friend, even though it's been a great number of years already that we haven't seen each other. We have remained in contact. And when she asked me, would you be able to? I said, what, me? But, I couldn't say no to her. And I am thankful. Really, guys, I'm
Sir.
thankful and I'm honored.
Thank you, sir. So it looks like we
Thank you
have
po,
covered
sir.
all the questions. So do you have
Thank you,
questions,
sir.
or is there anything else our viewers and attendees wanted to cover before we'll proceed to the next part of the webinar? I guess everything is in order. So we'd like to inform everyone that we still have one upcoming webinar on participatory action research. Our speaker is from Thailand. Are you all excited?
Yes, sir.
So this will happen on December 27, 2020 at 1:30 p.m. And we are also inviting everyone for our closing activity for 2020, the Research and Extension Services, in coordination with the Department of Secondary Teaching and the College of Education, will showcase the SED Spotlight 2020. This will showcase the researches conducted by our faculty of the college. See you there. Mark your calendars on December 27 and December 30, 2020. So before we'll end this event, I would like to inform everyone that the link of the evaluation form will be posted later right after we formally close this event. Please do not forget to answer the evaluation because it's very important to us as we will be using this to improve our activities in the future. After you have successfully done with the evaluation, please give us 1 or 2 days to send your e-certificates to the email that you use during the registration. By the way, sir, before we end this, sir, we have our picture taking photo ops with you, sir. So we're inviting everyone to open your camera for a photo opportunity with our international speaker, Mr. Carlos Manalastas. So we are asking Sir Fern to take the photos. Sir Ferns?
Yes, sir.
Okay, open your cameras, please. Let's start with page 1. Just inform us, sir, if you are done taking picture for page 1.
Okay, kindly turn on your camera, everyone. Okay, so smile. Oh, wait. Sir Arnold.
Sige, sir. Sige, sir.
Nakakuan ka, sir.
Sige, sir. Okay lang. Okay, just proceed.
Okay, so you ready?
Sir,
1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's it. Thank you so much. Okay na, Sir Arnold.
Okay. So dear students, viewers, and attendees, in behalf of the Young Researchers Club, Department of Secondary Teaching, and the College of Education of Mindanao State University, Main Campus, Marawi City, we express our heartfelt thanks to Sir Carl Manalastas of the Odessa High School, Odessa, Texas, United States of America, for the generosity of your time and sharing your expertise extended to us. Your precious time and sharing are greatly appreciated. I believe that you get as many. I want you to know that everything you have shared is greatly appreciated. God bless you 100-fold of your kindness, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, the MSU hymn.
Isang katulad mong nagsabog ng liwanag ng pag-asa't hanga't
Thank you so much, Sir Carl. So that was such a great morning. This has been your host, Professor Arnold B. Asutigi, saying thank you, everyone. We appreciate you for being here with us. Thanks again for joining us today, and we will see you next time. Enjoy the Christmas holidays. God bless us all.
Bye,
Thank you, Sir Carl.
guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sir Arnold. Thank you. Professor, thank
Much.
you. Good night, guys. It's already almost 11 o'clock
Thank,
here.
Good
thank
night
you, Sir
there,
Carl.
Sir Carlos. Thank
Thank
you. Thank
you.
you
Thank you so
again.
much.
Thank you,
Thank you
guys.
so
Till
much.
next webinar. This will not be the first.
Thank you for the
Thank you.
opportunity.